Hey guys, Bryan Karp Sales Giant here. I want to say this is week 12. Yeah, because last week was week 11. I am in the car, figured I would film it because I'm in between a few things and I'm sitting at Brock's lacrosse practice for his travel team. Have a little bit of time, so let's bang out the Karp Chronicles. Wait for it, week 12. All right, so lots to unpack and I'm doing my best because I wanted to make this vertical and it's difficult to do in the car. So big thing that started the week was on Monday, I met with my accountant. So it used to be I felt like I met with my accountant once a year, right, when I first started this business. And then I felt like I met with them twice a year, right around tax season, and then one time for planning. Now I feel like I meet with my accountant or speak to my accountant on a weekly basis. So what we always do is at the end of the calendar year, I want to say around November, we get together and I kind of tell them how much money we made in the brokerage business, what's going on in the rental portfolio, what acquisitions we purchased, and any other ventures like how much hard money interest we made, and any of our other businesses, and give them a lump idea of how much we made, so we make sure that we paid the proper quarterlies, right? And quarterly taxes are when you own your own business, you have to put the money aside for taxes. When you're a W-2 employee, the government just takes it out. It's so much better when you are a business owner because you get to take your taxes out and then you're able to, after you write all of your expenses off or after you show all your expenses, you pay tax on that. That's what's so special about being a business owner. But I could literally do an entire Karp Chronicles on all of those ins and outs. So we met, and what I do is at the end of, so that meeting's in November, we say, all right, the Karp family made X number of dollars. Were your quarterlies on target? And usually they are. So what I did in November of 24 is I said, okay, am I on target? They said, well, Bri, you need, what was it? You needed you need around $250,000 more of depreciation or losses to zero out your last quarter and not have to pay any tax. So I said, okay, roger that. And what I do is I go through the Karp family rental portfolio and I do cost segregation studies. So I did 2 cost segs on an apartment building we own, which pulled out like $200,000, and then a house we have in St. James that has 2 houses on one lot, and I pulled out 60. So in my head, I was like, roger that, I'm good. I won't have to pay anything for 415 because we already settled this. And they actually told me, don't make my last quarter payment of 24. So I was like, this is great. Meet with them, and they said, Bri, your rental income went up a lot. And so first we thought that Portia, my work wife, who does a lot of the accounting off to the attorney, I thought maybe she made a mistake. I looked at it, it was true. It's because in 24, the end of 24, I added a new building, but we weren't even collecting rent from it. So that wouldn't have shown in 23. So we added an apartment building, plus I bought a 3-family last year, and we went through the portfolio, and because the world's getting expensive and our taxes and insurance are going up, we raised everyone, right? $100, give or take, if you look at all of our units. And we have today almost 50 units. So the rental income went up substantially, and we didn't account for that. So he says to me, Brian, for 415, you're going to have to cut a check to settle things up. Nothing like life-changing, but you know, it was a decent amount. I said, well, I don't want to, and I had the money because I'm really diligent. What I do is I take 30% off of every single check and I put it aside so we have money for taxes, because you never want to be caught without money for taxes. I also take money aside off of every check and I put it in a separate account called the tithe account, right? And I don't know if you guys do that, but I didn't even think I was going to do this on this video. I literally have everything I want to talk to you about, and I haven't even hit it yet, and I'm 5 minutes in. But that changed my life, you know, when I started tithing, and I'll talk to you guys about that after. Let's finish what I'm talking about right now. So he said, you're going to have to write a check for 15, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And he said, okay. Well, I said, what if I do another cost seg study? He's like, well, you're going to need $180,000 loss to be able to zero out what you owe. So I said, no problem. So I reached out, and it's great that I have a great relationship, and you guys should watch it because I have a podcast with him on the Brick by Brick podcast. This guy named Moji, and he works for Madison Specs, and he's an attorney and an accountant and a genius. And I said to him, okay, can you find one of my properties? We found this, the beach house that we own. That's going to be that's an investment property right now, which will be my retirement property one day. He was able to really look at it because it has a bulkhead and it has a second structure. He was able to pull $183,000 worth of depreciation out. Boom. So I'm pulling the trigger on that. That will cost like $3,600 to do another cost seg, but it's going to save me a lot of money in writing a check. And that's the greatest thing about real estate. Like, it's such a great asset class, right? It's the most proven asset class. It has the most tax favorable, I don't want to say loopholes, most tax favorable advantages. So that's that. Let's talk about tithing. So growing up, I always had a real scarcity of money, right? And I always felt like there was never enough money. Not that we went without growing up, but I didn't feel this abundance of money. And then I listened to a podcast, and I wish I remember the name of the guy. He was a real estate guru, and he said you have to start tithing. And a tithe is you giving 10%, but you don't have to give 10%. I started off giving 1% and then moved it up to 5%, right? You could do whatever you want, but it tells you, and it says this in the Bible, it says this in the Torah, I want to say it says it in the Quran too, and this is not religious, but it says that you should give some of your money to not the poor, but give it to others, to help others. The sun's coming in here. Let's see if I know how to operate this. I need like Jess and the kids. There we go. Look at that. I'm pretty techie as the skylight shuts in the truck that we're in. So I started doing it, and I started doing it very, very small, and it was life-changing. It made me now feel like there's an abundance of money. I feel like there is so much money out there. I feel like at times it's raining money and raining opportunity. And for me, growing up, I had to be cheap with money because I didn't have a lot, and we didn't have a ton of money. Not that we went without. So once I started giving money away and giving money to charity, and that's why I do the Karp Family Scholarship. That's why I do the flagging event. Like, I do so many different things for the community and for unfortunate people. And just, me and Jess are all about giving. I don't know if I even ever told you guys, but we had a foster child live with us for almost 6 months. So we're all about what we could give. And literally, it changed my life when I started tithing. Like, guys, start with like $100 a month. And then you'll see it. The more you give, the more that comes in. I feel like the sun just hit me when I started saying that. And I'm not trying to preach to you guys, but it changed my life. Someone who lived in a scarcity mindset, I've gone to an abundance mindset because of tithing. And so what I do is I have a separate account. So every check that comes in, I take out 30% for taxes, I take out a piece for tithing, and then I bring the rest of the money to us to either run our business or run our lives. And that's how I run the Karp family finances. Now, let's get the Karp Chronicles. So I got through that, and that was Monday, and that was really stressful on that end. But so I had 3 houses that I put on the market last week that are now all have accepted offers, inspections done, and going to contract, and all different price points, right? $500,000. The other one was $750,000 launch price. The other one was $800,000 launch price. There was one more we're working on too. And then even like a $400,000 condo. So what does that show you? That there's still not enough inventory, and the market, as long as you price it within reason and you're not too uberly aggressive, is moving. I could tell you the high end is a little soft right now, right? The high end is soft, and that's like above 1.1 is definitely soft right now. Very excited. I told you guys last week about a house in Nesconset. I can give the address now because it's live. 75 Empress Pines. Like, I'm obsessed with these houses. They have double staircases. So just put that on the market. Already getting some activity on it. So that's super excited. And then I met with this amazing couple in their 80s selling their house, and they're going to downsize and jump into a rental. What I love about it is the land was given to this gentleman who's in his 80s from his either uncle or grandfather. And he was a mason, a bricklayer. He had these big, bricklayer hands. And like, I'm so obsessed with generational wealth, family wealth, real estate. And I just love that his family owned like a lot of that property and they cut it off. And he literally built the house himself with his like uncle, like with his bare hands. And it's so cool because he was a mason. So there's he just went above and beyond. He's got this big, in the center of the house, it's a sprawling ranch, big brick fireplace, right? And he's like, well, we were going to do double-sided, but it's only single-sided. And then the cool thing is like, you just see the extra brickwork. He has this cool bar in the basement if you guys are like entertainers. And it's just, the wall is all done with brick with like oval bricks going over this way. And then he's got, in his garage, the whole thing is outlined in bricks. Outside, there's retaining walls in bricks. Like, it's a really cool house. It's in Kings Park. I'm gonna butcher it. It's in the San Marine area. If anyone knows differently, you know I'm dyslexic. I'm doing the best I can over here. You guys could read stuff. I have to hear it so many times and memorize it. So super excited. That's gonna hit the market hopefully this upcoming week. It all depends on how quickly they can get the pictures done on that. That's going to be $700,000, 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths. So really cool house. Big news on our 4-family that we closed early this year, right? I closed in February. Remember I told you guys I got a $215,000 renovation on it? Well, went back to one of my boys who I've done a ton of work with, and he was able to get me a quote. I want to say it's in the 70s to 80s. The reason why I'm vague, because I had to buy some material. I got to buy flooring for it. Plus, I'm going to do the roof. We're not going to go as nuts with the reno, but each unit's going to be turned over, cleaned up. I want to say it was I think I'm going to be like 80. And then I'm going to spend, I'm going to redo the boilers. I'm going to redo the boiler room. So my budget for this is 100. If I could be in and out of this thing for 100, it's huge, because that would be 20K a unit plus the exterior. And then this thing is done. I told you guys last time, I'm building another bucket of income for us in 15 years from now. So right now this thing's going to cash flow about, I just did the numbers. Depends on what the non-for-profit takes it for. I'm hoping it's $22.50, but even if it's $22 a unit, and I know that's exactly what they'll pay, it's going to cash flow between $3,000 and $3,400 a month of positive income on that. And the cool thing is the tenants are going to pay it off in 15 years, and then it's going to be doing 10 G's a month, which would be bananas. So very, very excited about that. I love once I get it renovated and rented and then into the portfolio, then I could just, go back to, and this is like an alert for anyone, and I don't really think anyone listens to me, so I can really say anything on this. Like, I'm looking for another multifamily. I'll take a 2-family if it's right in my areas, but I'm really looking for another 3 or 4 or 5. So holler at your boy. You could represent me. You can make the commission on me. Looking for something this year. I got to buy something because I need to stack a few more New York properties every year, because I need to be able to have the depreciation that I could suck out of them. Now, obviously with my syndication Tennessee, I'm going to have huge, for my first project, I only got 40,000 of losses on it, just because the way we structured it, even though we ripped out almost 500,000 on that one. But my next ones going forward, we're going to be able to give more depreciation to the general partner, which is me. And that's what all the other syndicators do. And, most of my limited partners can't even use the depreciation because they're not real estate professionals. So we're still giving plenty, but I'm just going to use it now. They'll get it back when we go to sell the property. So excited about that. This is important for you guys. I have life insurance for God forbid anything happens to me for Jess, but I'm also getting some more life insurance through one of my businesses that, God forbid I passed away, my partners may not want to have Jess involved in the business. Nothing against her. Jess may not want to be like checking the books and dealing with the business. So we got $1 million on me. God forbid something happened, they could just give Jess a check for $1 million and she's could more than taken care of. So I guess the only advice I would give you guys is, like, God forbid something happens to you, you want to be, when you pass away, you want to make sure that your family is so taken care of, right? Like, that's always like the dream that I have is, God forbid you guys went to my funeral and, you saw Jess and the kids and the family. Just know that, like, I'm dotting every I, every T. They're going to be so taken care of. I'm even trying to take care of Brody and Brock's kids that are not even here, and maybe even their grandkids. So what I would say with anyone, if you have people you love, insurance is so cheap. reach out to me. I'll set you up with whoever I use. I was impressed with them. Like, why wouldn't you do it? And when you own businesses with other people, you don't want to have your spouse have to own the business, and your partners may not want your spouse. So buying insurance for each other and having the business pay for it, to me, is a no-brainer. Very excited, and I don't want to make an hour rant for you guys, even though I could chat forever. I have this week beautiful colonial hitting in St. James, 850,000. I know I say this, a newer built, so it's sub 2,000. So what that means is higher ceilings, 9-foot ceilings, more of an open floor plan. This is really nice. It's on a dead end street. I love it. I think it's going to be hot, but sometimes I say that and I put it out and the market doesn't agree right away. So I'm super excited about that. Have something I've been working on. I have a land sale, some land that I purchased many years ago, and with one of my partners, we subdivided and redeveloped it. So I'm selling that. Hopefully that will come to fruition at the early part of this year, if not by the end of this year. The nice thing is I'm going to have I'll retain all of my money that I invested plus a nice profit on it, and then I got to find something to roll it into, right? And I was on an appointment last night, and the guy was asking me about crypto, and he was asking me about the stock market, and I'm like, I don't play in those spaces because that's gambling. I invest my money because I work so hard for it, right? And I believe in it. I invest my money in multifamily real estate that produces income. So I 99% of the time only invest in real estate that produces income. Once in a while, I'll spec on a piece of land if I really think it's going to be a home run. The one we bought definitely is a home run. It's actually a home run for us, and it's a home run for the person we're selling it to, because they're going to make probably 7 figures after building all these new houses on it. It's not my expertise, it's not my lane, and I'm gonna make, I don't want to say a quick nickel, it's been a long nickel. I'm gonna make a long nickel, a little bit more than a nickel, but I'm gonna make a long nickel, and I'm gonna give it to someone else with enough skin on the bones for that one. I'm PO'd at the IRS. I was supposed to receive some money back from them because I overpaid in 23. I overpaid in 23, and they have, I don't want to say, but they have a large amount of money, right? People would be blown away at how much my money they have, and they still haven't given it back to us. And all I hear from them is it's because of all the cuts and it's tax season. So I'm kind of like, where's my money? Give me my money. And then my account's like, well, they're going to pay you 3% interest. I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me. So I got that. I also have a hard money loan that we put out that should come to fruition in a few months. So I'm excited to get that back. That money is allocated to renovate one of our retirement house. So, but I may not need it all right away. So then as the, CFO of the Karp family, I have to decide where we're going to allocate that up for. That's really all I got for you guys this week. I know I went a little bit over, but hopefully the beginning meant something to you. If you're still watching this, hook me up with a thumbs up, share this, and can you subscribe? We're trying to get to 500 subscribers on this.